Welcome to the Phil Steele Plus tour for this week. It is December the 23rd, and I have got three selections and a quick hitter for you, a quick note for you. Last time we were here, we took a week off, but the last time we were here, we gave you the Army-Navy under. I don't know if you guys watched the game. I assume you did. Most people do watch that game. What a remarkable bad beat that was. You're talking about an Army-Navy game where the two teams were dead under the entire game. If you look at the stats for the game, you had Army and Navy. Let's see, we got here total yards, 284 to 153 was the total yardage in the game. And with a couple minutes to go in the game, you're very happy. Once again, we give you the play-by-play of every game, but you could see it up here. We'll take you down below. All you have to do is click on that box, and it takes you to the play-by-play. Once again, I'd like to thank Ted over at collegepressbox.com for allowing us to put the box scores up on every game. But here you have a 10-7 game. There is at 17 points. There's 5 minutes and 21 seconds to go in the game. Army takes over, gets the tying field goal at 10-10. But the one touchdown was a block punt touchdown. The other one was a 66-yard run. So even if it goes to overtime, the offenses aren't going to score touchdowns, are they? And you get to overtime, and each team scores a touchdown on the first play, and then a field goal puts the game over 20-17. So a tough beat here for the selections. But overall, it's been a great year. The selections 43, 32, and 2 on the year. The quick hitters 38, 26, and 1, 20 and 10 over the last 4 weeks. I've got some selections for you. We're going to start off with the Memphis and Utah State game. This one is the First Responder Bowl in Dallas. And in this one, Memphis is a 7.5-point favorite. And let's take a look at the game a little bit closer and see why I like Memphis in this game, as does my computer. First of all, the one thing I want to point out, the two teams schedule-wise, Memphis has taken on the tougher schedule. The Mountain West has had a down year this year. Memphis is playing in the American Conference. And look at some of Memphis's games this season. I mean, they lost to Houston by 1. And once again, all you have to do is come over here and click on box for this stuff. You go back and take a look at the Houston game. And there is a minute and 30 seconds to go in the game. Memphis leads this thing 32-19. Houston gets a touchdown, recovers an onside kick, gets another touchdown with 18 seconds left. Somehow Memphis lost that game. They should have beat Houston. They lost East Carolina by 2 on a missed 2-point conversion in overtime, in 4 overtimes, another game they could easily have won. They lost to UCF by 7, and then they lost to SMU by 3 in a game they led 17-14 at the half. They ended up losing 34-31 in that game. So if you take a look at Memphis this year, they're probably even better than the record would indicate. And right here, this tells you how many yards per game they are. They are plus 49 yards per game against a tougher schedule. In fact, they are plus 16 yards per game on offense over their opponent's average and holding opponents to 22 yards per game below. Now we go look at Utah State. They've played a weaker schedule this year, and yet they are minus 34 yards per game on the season. So Memphis has been outgaining their opponents by 48 yards per game. Utah State's being outgained, yet the two teams come in with similar records. Now, we give you the average game grades out here, and this is important. It's in your magazine. You can see that on every single team in the magazine. But the good thing here about during the season, it updates it all season long, and you can see that the average game grades don't just take into account the score of the game. You could beat a team like here, for example. They lost to Alabama 55-0. That earned them a 72 grade. Let's find a game that they won. Here they beat Hawaii by 7. That only earned a 75 grade. So it takes into account the opponent, the yardage, both offensively and defensively, and, of course, the score. All that's factored into the average game grade. When we do that here on Memphis against Utah State, Memphis for the season comes in at a 101.4, number 50 in the country. Utah State's 85.3, number 114. So right there you're looking at a 16-point difference. Now look at the last 4 weeks. And the last 4 weeks is beautiful. It gives you a current way of looking at the team, how they're playing recently. Utah State's playing at an 86 level the last 4 games. Memphis is playing at a 105.9 level the last 4 games. So you add this one up, And Memphis is about a 20-point favorite in the game, and yet they're only a 7.5-point favorite. So I think we've got the better team, definitely. They played the tougher schedule, and Memphis comes into this at 6-6. Coach Silverfield's on the hot seat here. He needs a win. And the final factor, besides Memphis will be motivated, and Coach Silverfield will definitely be motivated for this. They want to finish out the season 7-6, and he's got the better team. Utah State's top running back, Calvin Tyler, opted out of this. He's got 1,000 yards. The number 2 running back, only 353 yards. So let's lock it in as our first selection here. We are going to go with Memphis minus 7.5 over Utah State. And I'll say this, generally when it comes to pre-January 1 bowl games, I like to look at the under or the underdog, especially when it's 7 or more. But in this case, I clearly like Memphis, and I think they'll be motivated, and they've got the far better team. I've got 2 more selections for you and a quick hitter. But a quick note for you, and I want to get this up here real quick. Is if you go to the back page of your magazine, we have got the VIP bundle here. Now, if you ordered the VIP bundle last year, we had a problem with the printer. We trusted a printer in Denver to actually mail out the magazine and get it mailed out on time to the right people, and it did not happen. It was a rough go there. So what's going to happen this year for the VIP people? I mean, some people did get the magazine on time, some did not. If one person doesn't get the magazine on time, I'm upset. But it was not good how the VIP went this past year. I am personally going to be mailing out the magazines. Our staff is, and we will make sure that they roll off the press. We ship the magazines out, and you get them 2 to 3 weeks before they hit the newsstands. That's a big advantage of the VIP bundle, and so we will be doing that this year. And the VIP bundle this year is $29, but the early bird gets the worm, and I'll explain that at the very end. Now, you can order this all the way up until May 31st, but the price is going to go up, maybe $1 a month. So right now, it's the lowest price, $29 right now gets you the magazine all the way, or gets you the magazine, and it gets you the magazine 2 to 3 weeks before it hits the newsstands. You get the digital version for free. So right here, the magazine's $19.99. It costs us close to $10 to ship it. So you're looking at $29.99, and that's what we're charging you, $29.99 to get the magazine and get it shipped. But you get the digital version free. That's a $19.99 value, and the big advantage there also is the digital version comes out before the magazine's even printed. We send the magazine to the press. They start working on the digital probably 4 days later after we send it to the press. The digital's up and available. You could be reading the magazine before the magazine's even printed. That's the quickness, and you're getting both, $19.99, $19.99 included. Plus, you get 4 months of Phil Steele Plus. I'm showing you how to use Phil Steele Plus. You get the first 4 months of the season free. But I mentioned early bird, and let me explain that to you. The early bird gets the worm. If you order this today or Saturday or any time this upcoming week, we will be closing the offices for Christmas. You can't order it online. You got to call our office direct right down here, 866-918-7711. That's 866-918-7711. Say you want the VIP bundle. You get in the magazine, you're getting it shipped out, not priority mail, but probably FedEx, I'm thinking we're going to use this year. It hasn't been finalized yet, but we're going to use somebody that's going to have a 2-day on it. You're going to get the magazine 2 to 3 weeks before it hits the newsstand. You get the digital version updated. You get 4 months of Phil Steele Plus 3 all the way through the start of September. But I am going to give you the rest of this year's Phil Steele Plus, the rest of December, all of January, all the way through the Super Bowl, if you order it today. So you could be using Phil Steele Plus. Only a third of the bowl games are gone. For 2/3 of the bowl games, all the NFL playoff games, you could be using Phil Steele Plus for the final 3 weeks of the NFL. It's $29 right now. Just call 866-918-7711. That's 866-918-7711. Get the VIP bundle. Get your magazine for next year locked up. You know you're going to get it in advance, 2 to 3 weeks before it hits the newsstands. The digital version is yours free. 4 months of Phil Steele Plus free. The rest of this season, Phil Steele Plus free. 866-918-7711. All right, let's get to those other selections. And we're going to go to another college game here. And you guys know one of the big things here on the Phil Steele Plus Tour has been the underdog outgained the favorite. It's been a very popular thing. It's had a great record this year. So we're going to roll up this one, and it is Duke against UCF. Well, the first thing we're going to do, we're going to take a look at inside the press box and see what the box score says on this game. Now, keep in mind, inside the press box gives you a complete write-up of every game. It also gives you my computer's forecast on the game. And I got to tell you, I'm about team number 41 of the first write-through process of this year's magazine. You would be amazed how many times that I flip and look at the magazine, and we have a projected stats for the season. That's on page 43 of the magazine. We project the stats for the season, and then I flip and look and see what the team had for the year. It's almost identical many, many, many times. So the computer can forecast the season in advance. Guess what? It can forecast the games in advance and does a really good job. And that's why this pick, the underdog outgains the favorite, has been doing so well this season. So you get the projected box score in every game. This is my computer saying that UCF will have a 463 to 424 yard edge, win the game 33 to 30, and guess what? They're the underdog. He's also played the tougher schedule this year, 71 against 81. So you've got a UCF team with a 463 to 424 yard edge, and they're the underdog, and they're outscoring them 33 to 30. That adds up to a solid play here. Plus, if you look at the AGG, it's got UCF at 105.7 for the season. Duke is playing at 101. They're the number 55 team in the country in my AGG. UCF is the number 33 team in the country in my AGG. I think Vegas got the wrong team favored here. We're going to go with the underdog to outgain the opponent. We're taking UCF +3 over Duke. That's UCF +3 over Duke. I haven't done it all year. I haven't watched any NFL all year. I'm just a college football guy now. But we're going to give you an NFL game. I want to show you a little bit how we use you can use the NFL part of this. And we're going to take a look at one of the Saturday games. We're going to put the Saints here on the left. We're going to put the Browns here on the right. And I can tell you a couple things about this game. First of all, New Orleans is not a great road team. They're 3-7 against the spread. Their last 10 road games are 3-7 against the spread when they travel to cold weather cities in December. So they don't do well in cold weather in December, which makes sense because you're talking about a dome team playing in the cold weather. I can tell you I'm sitting here in Cleveland right now, taking a look outside, and we have got about 0 degrees, 50-mile-an-hour winds, and snow all over the place. It's not going to be a great weather conditions for this game tomorrow. Something I want to point out, and when weather gets like that and you've got high winds, you rely on the run game. Look at the New Orleans Saints run game here. 85, 48, 29, 88, 63, 66. They have had 6 red versions running the football. In fact, over the last 6 games combined for the Saints running the football, they are averaging 59 yards per game rush. The Browns on the season averaging 149 yards per game on the ground, 4.7 yards per carry. They've got a very strong run game, which matches up well in these conditions. Now, when you look at the NFL pages, just to show you, we take you back. You can go all the way back to 2000 and let's see how far down it goes, 2009 on these. You can get individual stats. They're updated weekly. Right here, you can see how each player has done all season long. You can see when Watson took over as the starting QB. You can see his numbers are getting a little bit better each week as the rush shakes off. You can go back to last year and take a look how the players did against certain teams. All that's available on the NFL version. But also when you click here, the Phil Steele Plus menu, that takes you over here to the NFL. And what we're looking for, the Browns are about a 2.5 or a 3-point favorite in this game. And we think they're the better team. We're going to click on NFL information over here. Take a look at the strength of wins, pain of losses. You get credit for every opponent's win of a team you beat and every opponent's loss of a team you lose to. Cleveland is 36 and 48 in that category, 42.9%. Not great, but the Saints are 27 and 60, 31%. So you got the better team to begin with, a better run game, more acclimated to the cold weather conditions, and they're only laying 2.5 or 3 points in the game. The second thing to point out in the NFL, we've got the NFL strength of wins, pain of losses. Or no, that's the one we just did. The other one in the NFL is the YPG. and we'll take a look at that. Opponent, defensive YPG. Once again, Cleveland's up here at plus 21, which is the number 11 team in the country. The Saints are at 16, plus 2.5 yards per game. This means that you take into account the offensive average versus opponent averages. Cleveland comes out on top there, and then how you do defensively. You guys are familiar with those stats, but Cleveland's better in that category as well. So you got the better team at home, great conditions, and you're only laying 2.5 or 3 points. We're going to go with the Browns in that one. There's the first NFL play here for the Phil Steele Plus Tour. All right, those are your 3 selections. Let's go ahead and get to your quick hitter for today. And for the quick hitter, we're going to take a look at UCF playing Coastal Carolina. Or not UCF, excuse me. We're going to take a look at Coastal Carolina and East Carolina. We'll put East Carolina coming over here on the left, and we're going to put Coastal Carolina here on the right. Now, a couple things I want to point out here. We have got 2 longtime veteran senior quarterbacks who have been everything to their team. Holt Nailers is hitting 67% this year with a 23-5 ratio. He's got a powerful run game behind him with Keaton Mitchell. Those guys are all playing. It's Holt Nailers' last game. You know he wants to go out strong. And this is an East Carolina offense that averages 64 yards per game above their opponent average. So you got to like that. That's number 26 in the country. When we look at Coastal Carolina, they've got Grayson McCall at QB. Now, you look here at their totals here. They only had 183 yards against James Madison. They didn't have McCall. Let's go ahead and click on the individual player stats. We see Grayson McCall actually missed the Southern Miss game, missed the James Madison game, came back against Troy. They were down big, but they fought. If you go back to look at this Troy game, even though it was hopeless for them, they were down 31-0, they kept coming back and kept scoring and made it a 45-26 game. I like the fact that this is the final game for Grayson McCall. He has entered the portal. He may go to the NFL, may transfer to another team, but this is his final game with Coastal Carolina, and he is hitting 69% with a 24-2 ratio on the season. He's back, he's healthy, and he wants to go out a winner. So you have 2 very potent offenses. Coastal's offense averages 43 yards above their season average. Now let's look at the 2 teams defensively. East Carolina allows their opponents 13 yards above their season average. And look at all this red. They start out the season good, but now they're allowing 447 yards per game, 67% completions, 338 yards per game. Coastal Carolina, same thing. They're allowing opponents 14 yards per game above their season average. So we have 2 teams here geared to the over. We have a very reasonable total in this game. I believe it's 62. So you've got a reasonable total. You've got 2 quarterbacks that want to go out on a winning note. And as we saw from Coastal Carolina, I do think East Carolina is a better team. But as we saw from Coastal Carolina, they're going to keep fighting all the way in the 4th quarter, even if they're down. So I think this one is going to go with the over 62 in East Carolina, Coastal Carolina, and that is your quick hitter. Now, I will be back. I'll have one more of these for you. I'll have it for you next Friday, as usual. We'll highlight all the big bowl games. If that NFL play wins, maybe we'll throw some more NFL out here for you. Do take advantage of that offer I showed you earlier. And at this time, I'd like to wish you and yours a very happy holiday. And hopefully you're in a part of the country that's not getting the type of weather we have here. But I hope you have a very good Christmas and holiday. And I'll talk to you before the new year next year.